When 20 children were shot in Newtown, Connecticut last year, the world wanted to know, how could that happen? What makes a young man like Adam Lanza so violent? And what could prevent it? I'm Paul Overberg, here with Megan Hoyer. We've worked to try to answer some of these questions in our Behind the Bloodshed project, featured now on USAToday.com.
The Newtown story, like other well-known mass killings such as Columbine and Virginia Tech, galvanized attention on issues like gun control, mental illness, even armed guards in schools. But as USA Today started researching mass killings, we found there wasn't much good data.
What did exist was riddled with errors or focused just on certain crimes like shootings, sometimes just to serve interest groups' lobbying efforts. Without the ability to look at the whole problem, we worried that the national conversation might overlook things that contribute to mass killings.
So USA Today set out to create a whole new database. We started with FBI data, but found the agency had only a 61% accuracy rate. Dozens of events cataloged by the FBI failed to meet even its own definition of a mass killing.
The FBI defines mass killings this way: 4 or more people, not including the killer, are killed within a short time. In a few erroneous cases, police departments reported a year's worth of murders as one case. And in this case from Newark, New Jersey, the murders happened 32 years ago, but were reported in 2010 when police made an arrest. Many other mass killings weren't even on the FBI's list, like the beatings in 2009 of 8 family members in their home in Georgia, or the Fort Hood massacre that killed 13 soldiers and civilians.
So we used the FBI information as a starting point, and then combed through old news reports, other research, and court and police files to build our database, which we think is the most comprehensive look at recent mass killings.
You can explore what we found in our interactive, read specific case files, and dive into the details. We'll walk you through some of the basics right now. First, mass killings occur a lot more often than you'd think. More than once every 2 weeks, or about 27 times a year. They have held pretty steady at that rate, claiming about 140 victims a year.
But most mass killings aren't like Newtown. They aren't public events where a killer targets strangers. Instead, they're much closer to home. Family members killing family members, or friends, or neighbors. You can see here that more than half of victims knew their attacker, and more than a quarter were spouses or close relatives of their killer.
These are cases like the 2011 shooting in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I don't know exactly what happened, but my husband's been shot.
I've been shot in my elbow and in my shoulder.
Okay, what happened?
She shot me.
Shot you.
A woman that I'd been having an affair with.
Facing stress in her family and dating life, Marianne Holder shot and injured a man she had an affair with, then went on to kill her 2 teenage sons, a niece, a nephew, and her nephew's girlfriend.
Holder's niece was only 8, but the fact that children were involved isn't unusual. We found that a third of victims are kids. And while Holder's children and relatives were shot, it is far more common for young victims than older ones to die of suffocation, strangulation, or an arson attack.
Lobbyists and activists have focused on gun control as a solution, but USA Today found a quarter of mass killings don't even involve a gun. They use knives, fire, and even cars as weapons. When guns are used, most are handguns. Holder used a long revolver. Those wouldn't be affected by gun control aimed at large-capacity automatic weapons.
We also looked at suspects. That's where Holder is different, because nearly 95% of mass killings are committed by men. Like Holder, though, roughly a third don't leave the scene alive. Many commit suicide or are killed by police. In the aftermath, mental illness sometimes turns up as a contributing factor, but in many cases there's been no diagnosis or treatment. Only a small fraction of suspects have diagnosed mental illness.
Take a few minutes to explore the data and to learn more about mass killings in our interactive at usatoday.com.